A deal on Dickens, who could resist? A stack of Austen, warmly kissed. Golden Age crime tales twist and turn, every page a treasure to learn. Books keep coming home with me, piles so tall they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea, reading always feels so free.
Hi, my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. Third time is the charm. I have tried 2 other times to make this video, both of which during times I forgot something I was going to say. I think the first time I forgot the name of the people I was going to mention, and the second time I forgot the name of the tag itself. So, I have those things written down now. This will be the only video that I make tonight. We've had a mixture of, well, I live in a darkened room for the most part because of my sensory stuff, and my sleep schedule being off because of medical stuff. But anyway, so I'm not sure how much it actually has rained, but at the very least it was supposed to rain, and I can feel it back here, like my body's threatening a migraine. Hopefully it'll just stay in that threaten area and not actually go into full-blown migraine, but that's why only one video right now. But I really wanted to do this tag, and while I felt mostly up to doing it. So the tag is the quick, bleh, let me try that again. The tag is the quick to judge book tag. Apparently it is a tag made by Ali Rizdal, and I will have this person tagged below. And then the tag video I saw was by @CG Rated Books, and that's Charles. Just grabbing my water. I had actually missed seeing this tag go through just because I'm not always consistent on YouTube, or the areas I am consistent on YouTube are areas that are not helpful. But my mom saw this tag first, and she mentioned it to me because she wanted to make sure that she did the tag. So we spent yesterday during our tea time going through a list of books that each of us owned or had on our shelves, and then going, oh, I think I'll talk about this one. Oh, I'll talk about that one. Hey, look at the first paragraph for this one. So I don't know how many she ended up picking, and I don't even know if she's already recorded her video or not, because that's one she is going to do on her own. So crossing my fingers that goes well for her, because this will be her first time doing it completely on her own. I've given her instructions on how to do everything with recording it and putting it up. The big test will be her going forth and jumping out and doing it herself. So really hoping that she gets that up soon. I'm really excited for her. Oh, and her channel is, I believe it's Marlicia Meanders. Yeah, Marlicia's Meanderings? It's either Marlicia Meanders or Marlicia's Meanderings. I'll tag her below. But the tag won't be helpful, the name of the channel, unless you press on it, because her tag is Marlicia Muses. So either Marlicia's Meanders or Marlicia Meanders, run by Marlicia Muses. So hopefully she'll have that video up pretty soon. Just really excited where she'll be able to go once she gets more confidence with the technology part of having a booktube channel. Anyway, back to the tag. So once again, it's the quick to judge book tag. There are 4 prompts. The first prompt is pick 5 to 10 unread books from your shelves, which I have in a box right next to me, which of course means that I have 10 books rather than 5, because of course I do. The second prompt is read the first paragraph of every book. The third is rank the books based off the first paragraphs. And then the final prompt is add your highest ranked book to your upcoming TBR. So this is actually going to be kind of a book haul, as well as looking, like, I had these books ready to show for a book haul, but I wasn't quite ready to show them yet because I had a bunch of book reviews to do and a couple book tag videos. But when I saw the book tag, I was like, oh, actually, this is really convenient. I'll do at least a partial book haul with this. So this is also kind of sort of a book haul. So I'm going to go ahead and start pulling out books. I'm going to pull out the one that's by itself. Now, this one definitely is a book haul. This is The Hunchback of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo. I currently have a Victor Hugo that I am reading. He's just been set aside for a little bit until I finish. I want to say I'm waiting until I finish The Brothers Karamazov before I can continue with Les Mis. But I was watching something or listening to something that mentioned The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot Victor Hugo wrote that as well. But first paragraph for that. 348 years, 6 months, and 19 days ago today, the Parisians were awakened by the sound of loud peals from all the bells within the triple precincts of the city, the university, and the town. So what I'm going to do is, sorry, I feel like I have like I have something in my throat. So what I'm going to do is, next to me on a TV table, I have sticky notes numbered 1 through 10. And as I go along, I'm going to move the sticky notes down. Because this is the first book I've read, it's going to automatically be 1 because that's the only one I've read. Okay, so the next one. This is Death of the Bookseller. Now, this one is not a book haul this time around. I showed this in a recent book haul video. And it's by Bernard J. Farmer. There are many hobbies in the police. It has been said that if you want anything done, from mending a tap or painting a house to growing orchids, some policeman will know all about it. The job itself being unproductive of anything except law and order, without which no other job could function. Many policemen like to use their hands in their spare time. So actually that's going to right now go ahead of Victor Hugo. Then next, this one also was a recent book haul video, or on a recent book haul video. A Gentle Murderer by Dorothy Salisbury Davis. And the first paragraph for that one. I actually had to do first sentence plus first paragraph because it starts with a piece of dialogue. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. Father Duffy had heard the phrase over and over again that night, for it was Saturday, and he was assistant pastor of St. Timothy's, one of the largest parishes in Manhattan. He had heard small voices whisper of disobedience, untruths, and petty thefts, older voices stumbling in their quest for delicate ways to phrase indelicate sins, lust, drunkenness, cruelty, and sloth. And he had listened to the urgent rasp of the aged, repeating sins long since forgiven, but well remembered by the sinner, whose each counting might be his last. Some had come on tiptoe, some in bold clicking heels, and some in measured shuffling from the last pew in the church, where, even now, they would be sitting like Lazarus, repeating their unworthiness. And I think actually it's going to be 1, 2, 3. So far we're at the next one continues to be the number 1. Let's see if this one will change things. So I don't think I've shown this one yet as a book haul. I love this cover. I'm not sure how well it's showing up. I didn't realize how beautiful it was when I picked it up. So this is an American Foundation publication Francis Scott Key by Edward S. Delaplane. And I just love this cover. I don't have a lot of books with white covers, like a pure white. I guess it's ivory, but I don't really have any other books that look like that. Okay, so I actually took my first paragraph from the preface, because I do read prefaces and the like. Okay. More than 2 centuries ago, Andrew Fletcher remarked in a letter to the Marquis of Montrose, "I knew a very wise man that believed that if a man were permitted to make all the ballads, he need not care who should make the laws of a nation." So I'm not sure where I would put this one. All right, next one. Physician to the World, The Life of General William C. Gorgas by John M. Gibson. I think I ended up going with the introduction for this. Yes, and the introduction is by Sarah Woolfolk Wiggins. Because like I said, I read the introductions and stuff, so... I wonder if that's particularly fair to look at for an introduction. But that's honestly what pulls me in a lot of times, is whatever I happen to read first. So, William Crawford Gorgas physically epitomized the Southern gentleman, gracious, dignified, and courtly in manner, with a great shock of snowy white hair, a flowing white mustache, flashing dark, deep-set eyes, a bronzed, furrowed face, and a dazzling smile. His patients appreciated his inner qualities, the sympathy and compassion that he communicated to the ill, his tenacity, his failure to complain of hardship, his intense devotion to duty. John M. Gibson's biography focuses upon the medical career of W.C. Gorgas, a doctor so beloved that it was said that some of his patients insisted it was worthwhile to have had yellow fever to have had him care for them. To evoke such sentiments, he must have communicated his love for each individual, a sense of deep compassion and sympathy about his patient's well-being. That image of Gorgas, the compassionate, loving doctor, is the theme of this biography. Okay. Now this one is... Oh, and Gorgas was I'm not sure if I mentioned that Physician to the World is a stash enhancement. Or not stash enhancement. Well, that's knitting. Sorry. In my knitting podcast with my mom, we call this a stash enhancement. This is a book haul. So this is for this book haul. Now, another one for this particular book haul is I think this is a 50th anniversary? Yeah, 50th anniversary edition of The Roosevelt Myth by John T. Flynn. And I kind of like the political cartoon on that. I'm glad you dug up your Constitution, Joe. I can't find ours. So I'm just going to show it again. The details on it are amazing. Anyway. I think I ended up going with the foreword. This book is in no sense a biography of Franklin D. Roosevelt. It is rather a critical account of that episode in American politics known as the New Deal. As to the president, it is an account of an image projected upon the popular mind which came to be known as Franklin D. Roosevelt. It is the author's conviction that this image did not at all correspond to the man himself, and that it is now time to correct the lineaments of this synthetic figure, created by a highly intelligent propaganda, aided by mass illusion, and finally enlarged and elaborated out of all reason by the fierce moral and mental disturbances of the war. The purpose of this book, therefore, is to present the Franklin D. Roosevelt of the years 1932 to 1945 in his normal dimensions, reduced in size to agree with reality. Okay, this one is another book haul video. Dr. Mutter's Marvels. Ooh, picture. And this is by Kristen O'Keefe Aptowicz. Sorry, that's like a not sure what, German, Polish? Anyway. Let me just get to, I think I ended up going with the prologue. And I ended up having to go with the first sentence and then paragraph. Thomas Dent Mutter is dead, and the world will forget him. That is what Richard J. Levis thought, feared really, the day he heard the news. Mutter's death should not have come as a surprise. In his last years, he was a man who struggled to keep the demons of his ill health at bay. And though he worked hard to make sure his ambitious surgeries, his quick wit, and his charmingly ostentatious style of dress were always center stage, even Mutter couldn't hide how broken his body had become by the endless torture of pain and disease, the same foes he battled his entire career. Perhaps that was why it was still a shock when he finally succumbed to them. Mutter always seemed to be someone who could beguile death to stay away just a little while longer. Oh, that's going to be higher up, I think. Then next, oops. Okay, An Unfinished Life, John F. Kennedy, 1917 to 1963, by Robert Dallek. In August 1947, John F. Kennedy traveled to Ireland. The trip was notable for several reasons. Kennedy was first and foremost a good New Englander, an American, so said the Irish ambassador to the United States, who had all but lost his connection to the old country. Indeed, recalling how often Jack Kennedy had visited England in the 1930s and early 1940s without going to Ireland, the ambassador archly described Kennedy as an English American. Many people made much of his Irish ancestry, one of Kennedy's English friends said, but he was a European, more English than Irish. Now, at long last, he was going home. That was not, however, how his father saw it. For Joseph Patrick Kennedy, whose drive for social acceptance shadowed most of what he did, being described as an Irishman was a cause for private rage. Now I'm going to edit language a little bit here. Darn it, he sputtered after a Boston newspaper identified him that way. I was born in this country. My children were born in this country. What does someone have to do to become an American? Even though I had to edit a little bit for language, that actually has a... Then there is... And the Kennedy book is also, a new book haul. Another new book haul is The Secret Life of Houdini, The Making of America's First Superhero. And this is by William McCullough and Larry Sloman. And I could have honestly gone with either the beginning of I think I could have gone with the first sentence of the foreword or of the introduction. I ended up going with the introduction. Houdini didn't die in the water torture cell. He didn't have a mother fixation. And he wasn't just a great showman. Eventually, all legends get cluttered by apocryphal stories, and the legend of the greatest professional master deception is no exception. Much of what has become his story is fabrication. Ironically, the real story is better. Final book. This one is actually one I've had for a little while, but I've never, I want to say I got sometime last year. Haven't done more than, put on the shelf though. Now, the first, I don't even know what this is. Okay. So, it's the first little blurb at the beginning of the chapter. And the chapter is called The Magic Door. Oh, I'm sorry. What's the book? The book is Every Book Its Reader by Nicholas A. Basbinas. The power of the printed word to stir the world. I care not how humble your bookshelf may be, nor how lonely the room which it adorns. Close the door of that room behind you. Shut off with it all the cares of the outer world. Plunge back into the soothing company of the great dead, and then you are through the magic portal into that fair land whither worry and vexation can follow you no more. You have left all that is vulgar and all that is sordid behind you. There stand your noble, silent comrades, waiting in their ranks. Pass your eye down their files. Choose your man. And then you have but to hold up your hand to him, and away you go together into dreamland. Arthur Conan Doyle, Through the Magic Door, 1908. So this one was grabbing, and yes, it did make me also want to read the actual Arthur Conan Doyle book, but if this is a taste of what is to be included in the rest of the book, that is very interesting to me. So, it's between either Houdini or Every Book Its Reader. Let me actually arrange them all backwards and I'll show. Okay, so first of all, we're going to have Hunchback of Notre Dame, number 10. Then for number 9, Francis Scott Key, Life and Times. Then number 8, The Roosevelt Myth. To my surprise, much lower down than I expected, Physician to the World. Then, An Unfinished Life, John F. Kennedy. Next, Dr. Motors Marvels. Then after that will be Death of a Bookseller. Number 3 is A Gentle Murderer. Number 2, Every Book Its Reader. And then number 1, The Secret Life of Houdini, The Making of America's first superhero. And as the winner, it'll get its first paragraph read again. Houdini didn't die in the water torture cell. He didn't have a mother fixation. And he wasn't just a great showman. Eventually, all legends get cluttered by apocryphal stories, and the legend of the greatest professional master of deception is no exception. Much of what has become his story is fabrication. Ironically, the real story is better. So, yes, the first paragraph of the introduction was good. I also personally thought that I could have gone with the first paragraph of the foreword as well. Because here's the foreword, which I thought was pretty good as well. As an amateur magician, I frequently ask members of an audience to just think of a famous magician. When I ask people to raise their hands if they happen to be thinking of Houdini, inevitably about 3/4 of the hands go up. This despite the fact that Harry Houdini died 80 years ago. So honestly, either of those first paragraphs, whether it be of the foreword or the introduction, I thought were pretty gripping. I mean, this author has already shown that he kind of has a bit of a flair. I mean, he has the subtitle being The Making of America's First Superhero. So, I mean, the guy has a flair. I'm currently enjoying the book Houdini wrote on his efforts against spiritualism, or the spiritualists, the hoaxers. So I feel like I do really look forward to reading this as well. The only thing that might jump ahead of me reading this when I free up a book would be most likely one of the mysteries, simply because we are in March Mystery Madness, and I kind of want to at least make a nod in the direction of March Mystery Madness, which means A Gentle Murderer might skip ahead of its spot in line, if only because of that. But, yes, the winner, according to its first paragraph and in getting the next, up in the TBR section, is Houdini. Which, this will be great. So, thank you very much for joining me for this tag. I will try to remember to tag people below. If I do not tag you in this video and you still want to do this book tag, please go ahead, tag me in the video if you think about it, just so I can see what your answers are, because it is a fun tag. It's fun to see or hear 5 or 10 different first lines of different books, or first paragraphs of different books, and to experience them in that way, maybe even be tempted to explore a new book. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me. Hope that you have a wonderful day, and I will see you again next time. God bless. Bye.
Books keep coming home with me, piles so tall they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea. Reading always feels so free.